game when he hit the bar, but he couldn't enter. So I've been doing well since he's moved to Aston Villa. Good morning, guys. Welcome to Vote Sports on Vote 104.3 FM. My name is Godwin, and today we're going to talk about games that happened yesterday in the Premier League and the one game that is happening today in the Premier League. Other games happening in the La Liga yesterday. Barcelona won their game, so the pressure is now on Real Madrid to win their game today. Good morning, John. How are you?
Fine, thank you. A very good morning to all football maniacs out there who live, breathe, eat, and sleep football. Welcome to the show today.
Okay, remember, guys, we are live on YouTube at Vote FM Sports. You can go there, drop your comments. We will read your comments live here in the studio. Okay, let's dive into the game that happened yesterday in the Premier League. Manchester City beat Aston Villa 2-1. It was an interesting game. Both of them are just 3 points separating both of them. They needed 3 wins, but Manchester City somehow got that way and they moved third on the table, even though the others have not played. They scored that final goal in the 94th minute, almost 1 minute to the end of the game when they scored that final goal. But a good game all around for both teams.
Good game all around. God of 11 Tower coming through again. This is the second time in a row. If you remember in the last
game, they scored
it was 2 late goals to turn the match around. And then in this one, fantastic late goal from Matheus Nunes. And, for once, I'm not begrudging him starting the game because obviously in times past I've had my issues with him, but then he's been solid for the team coming back this period, and I can't fight that. But look at that first would-be goal for Aston Villa from Marcus Rashford, dancing in between the defenders and going right, then cutting back to the left, taking it just by the post, a rebound from the left back and then into the goalkeepers. And Rashford seems to be playing like a reborn man. The question is he going to still play at this level when they give him maybe a £50 million contract at Aston Villa? Is he going to find it hard to motivate himself to perform for the club? Because these are some of the unanswered questions. But on the night, good one for Manchester City. We sit third. Like I said earlier, we could sit second by the end of the season. It's still on the table.
And you're not dreaming too much, but if you're allowed to dream. Okay, in general, in that game, if you look at the statistics in that game, they must have more position, more shots, in total 14, 6 shots on target, and I think they had everything in control. But since that Haaland has been injured, even throughout this, they are finding it difficult to score goals, even though they got 2 in this game, and they keep leaving it late. I think Pep needs to do something about this in next season.
Yeah, obviously, everybody is just counting down to the end of the season and to the start of the transfer window, because a lot of clubs, this is why, like I said earlier in the season, like when you have a window like January, what you do with January is going to be very telling on how the season ends for you, because not everybody is willing to dip their toes into that January window. We sorted out the centre back issue in January. We sorted out a backup striker in January, and we are still going to sort out some other issues in the side come summer. But then everybody has the chance to refresh. Look at the rumor running rife about United. Look at the rumor running rife about Chelsea, Esteval, and other clubs. So everybody refreshes in the summer. The question is, how are you going to start the following season after the refresh? I think who is going to burn faster? Who is already going to improve their side, and who needs what in the summer? Sometimes what you think you may need in the summer may not be what you need, and then an injury prompts you back into the transfer market just before the window shuts. So there is a lot of redevelopment that is going to happen at City as well as other clubs in the Premier League.
Okay, talking about Emery have done well with Aston Villa this season. Even though they are 7th on the table, they still have 57 points. Them and Chelsea have the same point. Chelsea and 6, just 2 points away from that Champions League spot. Newcastle is 5th, 59 points. So it's still possible for them to do that in the next 4 games, depending if other results go their way. So they are still in that conversation. But I think Emery has done well, reached the quarterfinal of the Champions League. They are just lost by 1 goal margin. And now they are almost maybe 2 points if the result go their way in the last 4 games. They play the Champions League next season. If you look at where he brought them from and where they are, I think he has done well.
I don't think there's anybody that can begrudge the fact that Unai Emery has done a stellar job at Aston Villa. Aston Villa were a side headed for relegation when he took over, and the target wasn't just a Champions League spot. The target was survive.
Just survive, yes.
You understand me? And from surviving, look at them playing the quarterfinals of the Champions League, dominating a PSG side in the second leg. Unfortunately for them, they couldn't beat the deficit and they are out. But you have to give them props for them. I will tell you that in the last decade, nobody would have given Aston Villa a shout of even escaping past the group stages of the Champions League if they ever got there. But it just goes to validate the point that you get the right characters in a club, get the right mentality in, and you could take a Burnley to the Champions League.
Exactly. You just need right characters, right coach to probably do that for him. For that team, any player I think Leicester did it and won the league, so it's possible
Mm-hmm.
for any other team to do it, even though it happens once in a while. But once in a while, it can happen to anybody. Look at what he's doing with Aston Villa. He has done well. I think, except he wants to leave. I don't think Aston Villa can wake up in any day and tell him to go, except he wants to leave. Because if you look at the way Emery have done well, have done with Aston Villa, he has actually done well with them, that team. So, but they have 4 more games to go before they are sick. But if they play Europa League, this is not still bad.
No, it's not.
It's
It's
not
not
still
still
bad. If they
bad.
play Europa League, it's not still bad.
It's
Truthfully,
his comfort zone.
yes,
Europa League is his
exactly,
comfort
exactly.
zone.
He has
So,
won it multiple times. I think 3 or 4 times. So,
so I don't think
yes,
it's going to be a bad thing. Like I said, for clubs like Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa, is not a bad result finishing in the conference or the Europa League or the Champions League spot. You've proved your point. All you need to do to know that you've proved your point is go look at the bottom 5 in the Premier League or the bottom 6, and you know that these are guys that you've ousted this season. Now at the summer they could refresh and it could be a different ball game, but for this period, enjoy where you are, where you are finishing, put in the work, keep pressing till the end of the season. But then no matter what, I don't think any of them is going to write this season off as a poor season. No, it's been a stellar season for them.
Oh, okay. Nottingham Forest are fourth now on the table with 60 points,
Mm-hmm.
so they are still in that conversation. If they need to win all their games for them to qualify for the Champions League, I think they need to qualify because they have stayed in that top for a very, very long time. It's going to sad if they drop out from that top 5. And not qualify for Champions League. But for Aston Villa, they lost against Manchester City at the Etihad. Now, Manchester has 61 points. They are in third position, even though they are playing one more game ahead of everybody. Aston Villa is 7th with 57 points, so it's still mathematically possible for them to qualify for the Champions League. Okay, for the game that is going to happen today, Arsenal is going to play Crystal Palace in the only game that happened in the Premier League today. Arsenal are not looking to win the Premier League because it's not, even though it's not mathematically over, but they can actually close that point gap. But they need to still close up the gap a little bit so that it not be like you lost the league with 15 points. Or if you lose this game, they might not drag you into this top 4 or top 5 battle in the last 4 games, which Arsenal don't want that. So I think they need to take this game serious. For Crystal Palace, whether they win or they lose doesn't mean anything to them.
Yeah, I think the most important thing in this conversation is the fact that, right, we are already getting to the end of the season, and a scalp is a scalp. And a scalp may be what Crystal Palace are looking for in this encounter, not necessarily maybe because it's going to take them into Europe, but just because maybe they beat a big side. And if you look at the other side, Arsenal right now, I think it would be a terrible move for Arteta to kind of write off the Premier League because you are dreaming of a Champions League win or a Champions League final, whatever it's going to be, because any wrong result at this stage, you could find yourself in a battle to maintain top 4, and it's because the battle is already heating up. It's just that, for example, now City are 5 points behind us now.
Yeah, 5 points, yes.
And then a draw or a loss in this game will be 6 points. You understand?
4 games, yes.
In 4 games, if the same thing happens in the next 2, it's open. So Arsenal need to win and win confidently and forget about what happens in the coming days, because they have that game against PSG. But in this one, they have to just win. A draw in this one could open up their position at second, and let's say a Liverpool win, that point difference would be wider. It could be as high as maybe 20 points between them and Liverpool at the end of the season, and they wouldn't want that. So you have to win, even as much as you are going to have to limit your liabilities by taking key players out early, but at least start well, get the early goal, and defend your position.
Yes, Arsenal won't play at the weekend. If they play this game today, they will not play because FA Cup, some Premier League games will happen and FA Cup will happen this weekend. So Arsenal have rest from, if they play today, they'll rest from now till they play PSG in that Champions League. They have enough time to rest, train for that game. The same way for PSG, I think they are playing on Friday too.
Yeah,
If they play on Friday, so everybody will rest. So it's going to be a huge encounter for in that Wednesday Champions League. But in this particular game, who do you think will win? What's your prediction for that game? That game is happening at the Emirates.
I think depending on who starts, Arsenal should be winning. Depending on who starts, Arsenal should be winning. But let's see how it goes.
Okay, let's see how it goes. Ateta was talking to the press conference. He might start a few players because he needs. If he gets injured now, Arsenal fans will kill any star player gets injured. Arsenal fans will actually roast him because Partey is already out with a yellow card in that first leg, so they don't need to lose any other player in that semi-final of the Champions League because that is the main focus for Arsenal and Arsenal fans. Okay, let's see what happens in today's game. That game is happening 8 p.m. today, Nigerian time. Arsenal will take on Crystal Palace in the only game that is going to happen in the Premier League today. Okay, on our YouTube channel, remember guys, we are live on YouTube at Volt FM Sports. Chigozie Alexander, welcome to JC. As for Rashford, I am really happy for him, but like I used to say, he should build his character over there, including Sancho. Okay, they don't want him back. I don't think he wants to go back. Who wants to go? If for me, I have to take it. If for me, I'm Rashford, I'll take maybe a pay cut, a little pay cut, and play at Aston Villa. Look at, I think Emery even trusts him. He trusts him. Look at the way he moves. He moves like a man that is reborn. So it's for me. I'm probably going to stay at Aston Villa. I don't know. I don't know for him. I think it's the right choice for him to make.
Yeah, I think the most important decision is for him to leave Manchester United. I think when Rooney has had a conversation about that he told him earlier on that he should move on because there's how you stay at a club. Your presence at the club just compounds your woes because everything you do is under a microscope. So, but if you move on, you have the opportunity to redefine yourself, play at, like, let me just tell you that 60% of why Rashford and all these other guys are playing the way they are playing is because environments, QED. Sometimes if you are overhyped, right, you are put in a pressure cooker and then going somewhere where, look, the instruction is go out there and play a good game, not go out there and deliver for us today. You understand me? So I think that's one of the things I noticed. If you look at that last Manchester, you know what he's doing. Secondly, I'm also going to come back to note on the fact that be careful what you wish for. All this clamoring for Xabi. Baba, you go give the man 3 seasons main build. That's the question. Because coming in, there are a lot of mistakes he's going to make. There are a lot of, things that he's going to move around, and you are going to, if for example now, you let Ancelotti go and they go trophyless next season, are they going to call for Xabi's head? They are going to, in all humility, swallow that bad season. They should swallow this bad season and rebuild for next season. And I blame Ancelotti to a great effect because it's one thing to, when the music is loud and the fans are happy and everybody is fine, it's one thing to, overhype what you have at the time. I saw this from last season that, look, Madrid are just getting by on name and reputation and a lot of the indices in a game that they should have in place. They don't have it in place. And the man just continued gallivanting without fixing his defense. And that defense has been a downfall for this season. So I wouldn't be blaming Ancelotti. I'll be blaming the fact that Real Madrid could not fix that defense and getting the players he wanted, if at all he made the request for the players.
Okay, after the red card, Mbappe will be available for today's game. Today, so Mbappe is available. Ancelotti was talking to the press yesterday. He's still on him. He wants to stay at Real Madrid. He's not planning to leave Real Madrid, but the board and Perez will have to decide if he's going to stay or, because Perez can be a funny man. He can wake up in the morning and tell you, Alma, we have tried, but we need to bring in another coach to help us, whatever he wants to tell you. But that's what he did to Ancelotti the first time. He let him go after winning trophies for him. And went trophyless the next season and he sacked him. So it's possible nobody can know what Perez is going to do. But let's see if Ancelotti will stay. But apart of things, he said that if they want to win the La Liga and the Copa del Rey, they must beat Barcelona in the next 2 games.
Unfortunately, they are going trophyless this season. And Madrid fans, you are entitled to come at me, but unfortunately, you are going trophyless this season.
Okay, let's get a prediction for that game. Getafe and Real Madrid, who wins?
Let's not forget that game is a derby. and this is La Liga, so it's going to be a draw. Getafe are going to have to fight to earn a draw, or Madrid are going to have to rely on player brilliance once again, and hopefully nick a win. But for me, it's going to be a draw.
Okay, let's see what happens with Getafe and Real Madrid. Is going to be a very, very tough battle for them, because now Barcelona has 7 points ahead of Real Madrid. Must win today if they have a chance, any chance actually, to win Real Madrid, win Barcelona in that La Liga title. They have Barcelona to play in next 2 weeks. They play Copa the Rey final on Sunday. Then in 2 weeks' time, they should be playing Barcelona in the league game. That a classical game is going to be huge for them. If they win that game, they got it down to about 1 point. So it's possible for them to still win the La Liga. So other games, let's get your prediction for other games. Atletico Club versus Las Palmas. Who wins in that game?
Atletico Club should be winning.
Atletico Club should be winning. Celta Vigo versus Villarreal.
I'm going to back Celta Vigo.
Villarreal. I think Deportivo and Real Sociedad. I think Real Sociedad have underperformed this season so much that I couldn't even believe it. But I think they are playing today. Who wins?
I'm going to call it a draw.
They call it a draw. Okay, let's see what happens in the La Liga today. But the main game is Getafe and Real Madrid. We'll see if Real Madrid can cut that point back to 4 points. Okay, in the Serie A, there is game in the Serie A today. Genoa versus Lazio, Torino versus Udinese, Cagliari versus Fiorentina, and Parma versus Juventus. All the games on Mondays was cancelled because of the death of Pope. So they are going to reschedule that game sometimes before the end of the season. But for today's Serie A game, I think it's going to be interesting, because if you look at the Serie A battle, it's going to be interesting who wins that Serie A. But none of the big boys, the two top players, are playing. That means Napoli and Inter are playing, but Juventus are playing. Juventus sacked their coach. But if let's just get your prediction for those games that are happening today, so we can talk about other things happening around the world. Okay, that Genoa versus Lazio, who wins in that game?
I'm going to back Lazio.
Lazio. Okay, Torino and Udinese.
That's a tough one. Tough one, but I don't know. Let's go with Torino.
Okay, let's go with Torino and Cagliari versus Fiorentina. Remember, my
is
still happening. He's doing well, and he signed a new 1-year contract as Fiorentina.
Like, I'm happy for the man. Like, he's doing well, no doubt. So Fiorentina, they should back that one.
Okay, Fiorentina should back. Okay, finally, Parma versus Juventus. Who wins?
Hopefully Juventus with this man up front.
Okay, let's see if Juventus will win that game. It's going to be interesting in everywhere in the Serie A. That battle, if you look at the table in the Serie A, it's getting tough and tough. What do you think who will win this La Liga? Because this Serie A, because after the 3 games, that means how much? 7 games to go. About 6 games to go now. Inter is first with 71 points, and Napoli is second with 71 points. So I think it's going to be a tough game for both teams.
It's a tough game. It's sadly, this is why, like, if it's such a tough one, because now it's wide open. It's a matter of form and the matter of, let me say, the run of games you have remaining. I think it's just 5 games to go, and they are going to have to find a way to keep winning and continue winning. So it's going to be a matter of who wants it more, because before they had a 3-point gap ahead of Napoli,
and they lost the
game.
Weekend,
so it's unfortunate, but now they have to fight it out.
Okay.
And I think this gives Conte a bigger impetus, because Conte now has at least let's say, one hand on the trophy now, because both of them are on equal points. It's now going to be whose team
it's head to head. I think that both of them finish draw head to head. So I don't know how they are going to do it, but somebody will have to draw points.
I bet you Conte wishes Osimhen was in the squad now.
Okay, talking about Inter Milan, they will play this second semi-final of the Coppa Italia against AC Milan today. The last week they played a 1-1 draw. In that now they are playing AC Milan, the same stadium, San Siro. Both of them share the same stadium. Who do you think will win this game? The derby is always is dicey, but recently Inter Milan have the upper hand because they have been winning a whole of these derbies. But somebody has to win today. So who do you think will go through to the finals?
I'll be backing Inter because of their defense, and then if you look at the attack as well, Lautaro Martinez has been phenomenal this season. So I'll be backing Inter Milan, and AC Milan, they just need to find a way to, improve their performances. They've been poor so far If you look at the Serie A, you have to scroll down to look for them. They are far.
They are far there, but let's see what happens in today's game. But I think if you look at it, I think Inter should qualify for the final. They are always good in when it comes to cup competitions.
They should qualify, no doubt. They
Okay,
should qualify.
okay, let's see what happens with them. Inter will play AC Milan in the second leg of the Coppa Italia. Let's see who moves to the finals of that competition. Okay, away from all that, let's talk about things happening elsewhere around the world. We told you yesterday that Alonso might be moving to Real Madrid. And now, if you let's talk about Chelsea, because Dortmund are open to keep Chukwuemeka next season. I don't know if loan or permanent transfer, but I think that him getting game time at Borussia Dortmund, I think he should stay there. I don't think he should need to come back to Chelsea.
There's no rush to come back to Chelsea because it's funny right now. Chelsea, for all they talk about them wanting a striker and signing a striker, they need to be outgoing before they can be incoming. Otherwise, you will still bloat the squad a little bit more than it's already bloated. So they need to be outgoing. And if Chelsea can keep Carnage, since he's not in Maresca's plan, if they can keep him there one more year, I don't think it will be a problem for them. And as long as he keeps performing over there, suitors will come and they can let him go if they so choose.
Okay, let's see what happens with them. Talking about other players, maybe moving and signing a new contract. Vinicius is on the verge of signing a new contract with Real Madrid. Another 5 years. He's going to stay at Real Madrid till 2030. I think it's a good one for him. He has earned it. He has earned to be the number 7 for Real Madrid. He won them a couple of Champions League. Almost won the Golden Ball last season. Even though this season he dropped up a little bit on form, in form, but I think they deserve to get a 5-year contract, 4 or 5 years contract.
I think one of the most important things about giving him a new contract is all this talk about leaving for Saudi, all this talk about all this stuff will at least die down a bit, and then he can get back to playing good football. And let's not forget that you don't want a repeat of what's happening at Liverpool to happen elsewhere, where you let your players run down their contract to 1 year and then it's no longer in your hand to keep the players, because that's what's going on over Liverpool. You still have about 3 players whose contracts are going to be up by the end of next season. So it's going to be a dicey one. And let's not forget that Madrid put a lot of clauses in this player's contract. Like Vinicius had a €1 billion buyout clause in his contract. And now that they've renewed it, obviously it's gone up. And then they just want to keep the player as much as they can, and it's a good one for them because Vinicius has carried the club a couple of seasons ago and he continues to do so.
Okay, let's see if he's going to sign that contract very soon. Real Madrid is offering him 4 or 5 years contract to stay at that club till 2029 or 2030. Let's see if when he's going to sign that club. I think he deserves it. He has won a couple of Champions League, scored in Champions League semi-final and finals for Real Madrid to help them win that competition. So he's going to start, even though that Mbappe is there. Mbappe has been scoring more than him this season. Because Mbappe is more of a goal scorer, he might always be scoring more than Vinicius, but Vinicius should be the star of Real Madrid. But they have 2 stars now. Plus Jude is
they have stars. More than 2 stars.
But if you compare, I think they have 3 stars and Jude.
I think Real Madrid have successfully recreated the problems they had with the Galacticos, which is you have to now, apart from managing performance and fitness, you have to manage egos.
Yeah, I think talking about that Galacticos, they had about Beckham, Figo, Zidane, Ronaldo,
phenomenal.
Ronaldo, Raul,
Owen.
They had a whole lot of players. The coach was confused. They didn't know who to start and who to bench at any point in time. And they didn't. I think they won only one La Liga in that particular Galactico, and they didn't win the Champions League. That's why Ronaldo today did not win the Champions League in his career, even though he played for AC Milan, played for Inter Milan, and played for Real Madrid. He did not touch.
And another dimension to this conversation is you move clubs to win the Champions League,
and they win it
like Gigi before.
It's funny. I think he moved from Real Madrid to AC Milan, and Real Madrid won it. So I think it's just sad for him. But I don't know what Real Madrid is going to do, if they're going to bring Alonso or if they are going to continue with Ancelotti. But let's see what happens. Okay, let's talk about the hottest property, striker property in the whole world now. You're talking about Gyökeres. He scored again last night, a goal and assist for Sporting Lisbon. Now, in the last 9 games, he has 16 goals and assists. In total, this season, he has 48 goals in 47 games for Sporting Lisbon. In total, Club and Country has 57 goals in 53 games for Club and Country. In total, he has 72 goal contributions in 53 games in all competitions. This guy is the hottest striker in the whole world now.
No doubt, no doubt. You just need to look at the numbers and you need to look at the performance. You know, there was a conversation, an interview I caught with Nani talking about Yokeres, talking about his pace, talking about his physicality, talking about how he mentally this season he's been on point. And then you can see that everything is there. It's just now going to be which club is going to pay the price. And, you know, of course, rumors here and there. Let's see where it goes.
Where do you think he should go?
Should go to Arsenal.
Oh, if Arsenal is not good, okay.
Oh, City.
We have City cannot. We have Haaland now.
I don't understand
what bench Haaland.
We've had Tevez and Balotelli.
But you know that Pep doesn't play with two strikers.
No, I'm just telling you that forget about Pep right now. Let's talk about the club. We've had Tevez and we've had let's not forget now. We've also have the Haaland and Julian Alvarez at a certain point in time. So why not? What's to say that we can't have a Gyökeres and Haaland in the side? If you want to do big things, you have to bring in big guys.
But you know that he will not go there. He will not go there because if Pep decides to start playing one striker, he will choose Haaland over him. And he's 26 years. He's going to be 27 soon.
No doubt about that.